Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking the foundations of finance. These are the exact systems we all interact with literally every single day, yet we rarely stop to actually decode them. We're going to look at the stark difference between our everyday financial expectations and the really fascinating reality operating just behind the scenes of our taxes, our banks, and inflation. So picture this. You've just spent a long, incredibly hard month working the grill at your local burger joint. You're totally exhausted. You're finally resting in bed when your phone lights up with an email, and it says you've been paid $2,000. Man, seeing that big, clean number suddenly makes all those hours sweating over a hot stove feel completely worth it, right? But then the reality punchline hits. You open your banking app to verify the deposit, the screen glitches for a second, and that beautiful $2,000 balance drops straight down to just $1,456. I mean, that is a visceral pain, isn't it? Seeing that massive chunk of your earnings just completely missing from your balance. It almost feels like a technical mistake, but as we're about to see, it is entirely by design. Section 1, the paycheck reality check. Where exactly did the money go? Well, we all know taxes are simply the cost of civilization. It's that modern ritual of redirecting a chunk of your earnings to keep society running smoothly. But honestly, looking at the sheer number of deductions, federal income tax, state tax, Social Security, Medicare, it kind of feels like endless bureaucratic forms are flying out of your screen and wrapping you up like a mummy. And the ultimate kicker? The system actually expects you to say thank you. But fundamentally, we have to remember, this is just the mechanical, strictly required cost of keeping our modern society functioning. Okay, let's dive into this. There are 3 reliable drains to watch out for. First up, income tax. This one grabs a piece of the money you make right off the top. Second, sales tax, which hits the money you spend the exact second that register drawer closes. And third, capital gains tax. This one neatly taxes the money your investments organically generated while you were fast asleep. Yep, even the bills multiplying in your savings account get taxed. Section 2, the bank vault myth, the illusion of the safe. So we confidently hand our cash to the teller, assuming it's going into this massive, dark, medieval vault guarded fiercely by a fire-breathing dragon sitting directly on our exact pile of bills. The slightly comedic reality? That money is already gone. The vault is essentially empty. Instead of a dragon, we're really dealing with a middleman who is aggressively using our deposits to fund some random guy's jet ski. This entire process operates on what's called fractional reserve banking. It's a system where banks keep only a fraction of your deposits and immediately loan out the rest. So they aren't static iron safes holding your paper bills. Not at all. They are highly active routing centers, moving capital around at absolute lightning speed. And this brilliantly illustrates the math. It's actually pretty eye-opening. When you deposit a clean $1,000, the bank immediately takes 900 of it, 90%, and hands it straight out the back window to that guy buying the neon jet ski. Only a tiny 10% sliver stays behind in the bank to cover their daily operations. Section 3, clones and empty chips, the silent drain. Let's start with the concept of interest. At its base level, interest is simply money's way of charging rent to exist in someone else's hands. It is the agreed-upon cost for the privilege of holding and using cash that does not actually belong to you right now. So the crucial point is how this rent scales. Simple interest is just a basic flat fee. Easy enough. But compound interest, that is a completely different beast. It basically means every single dollar you owe actively creates a clone of itself. And then those newly created clones start demanding rent too. Imagine one paper bill splitting into 2, then 4, until an entire army of tiny, impatient dollar bills with clipboards are tapping their feet, demanding to be paid. That is the aggressive, multiplying power of compound interest. Now let's pivot from the bank to the grocery store to look at inflation. We've all experienced the 30% potato chip reality. You know the feeling. You rip open a giant bag of chips, a massive gust of air rushes out, and you find, just 3 sad chips at the very bottom. You didn't get a bad batch. You just experienced inflation perfectly visualized. Here is the expectation setup. You look at the grocery store shelf, remembering the normal price for that exact same bag of chips from just last month. It was an easy, affordable, completely predictable $2. But then you look closely at the digital tag today, and it rapidly ticks upward from $2 to $4.50. No way, right? But that is the reality of the sudden price hike. The numerical value of the dollars in your pocket has quietly drained away, requiring more of your hard-earned money to buy the exact same 3 sad potato chips. So what does this all mean? Are you ready to navigate a world where your dollars seem to have minds of their own? Between the mechanical tax deductions, banks actively deploying your savings, multiplying interest clones, and inflation quietly shrinking your groceries, everyday finance is a wildly active, living ecosystem. Once you decode the reality behind these systems, the next step is figuring out how to make them work for you instead of against you. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and we'll catch you next time.